genuine, quick tips and tricks to enhance your tech savvy.
All of these every Saturday at 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Philippine Standard Time. So tune in dito sa programang URL.
Update, review,
Learn!
Ang inyong weekly tech show on INCRadio.
Sama-sama tayong humanga, matuwa,
walang angry,
Walang magalit.
at maglakbay sa ganda ng Caraga. Dahil kung ang hanap ninyo ay adventure and fun, masayang usapan at kwentuhan,
Sino namang hindi?
na sa Caraga. Tuwing Sabado, alas 3:30 ng hapon, dito sa INC Radio.
This is INC Radio, DCEM 954, the voice of truth, the official radio station of the Church of Christ or Iglesianicristo.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all of our listeners and viewers here on INC Radio Micronesia. My name is Sister Randy Reyes from the local congregation of Machanao, and I will be your host for this evening's broadcast. So for our broadcast is this evening, our topic is punctuality, strategies of time management. So we will share things that can help us with our time management, whether it's planning ahead, setting priorities, or using any types of reminders that can help us improve in our punctuality. So joining us this evening is our fellow crew members there in the island of Saipan. Sisters, if you would like to introduce yourself, please.
Thank you, Actor Randy. Hello, everyone. I'm Sister Jillian from the local congregation of Saipan, and I will be your co-host tonight. And we have a very practical and inspiring conversation ahead. So full of like tips and strategies that you can actually use in your daily life, right, Sister Bam?
That's right. As you guys know, I'm Sister Bam from the locale of Saipan, and I am one of your YouTube engagers tonight. And so excited to talk about today's topic because I think it's something we all have in common, something we all can talk about as well. Back to you, Sister Randy.
Thank you, sisters. So as we continue with our discussion or start with our discussion, I wanted to ask Sister Jillian first, why do you think punctuality or time management is considered such an important habit to have?
Okay, so for me, po, Ate Randy, I feel like being on time and like managing your time is like such a big deal because like it shows that you actually care about getting stuff done and also that you respect other people's time. Like if you're always late or like scrambling, it kind of shows that your work on other people's schedules aren't that important for you. And also, of course, as a student, being punctual for like class or also work just really shows that you take your responsibilities seriously, and it really helps you to keep balance of your life. Like you can study and hang out, work, and not having to worry about getting things done.
Yes, I agree. And I think it also builds reliability, right? For example, like you said, in school, you have to be on time, right? Because you're showing respect for not just your teacher, but also for your classmates. But of course, because it's not like they're not going to start without you. But of course, it shows also that if you're on time, your teacher can rely on you being on time in school. And even not just in school, but even in doing your work, right? I think for myself also, I really believe it's an important habit because it can boost productivity. So, because if you're on time or even, do things on time, you have more time for other things, right? And it leads to different kinds of things. Like it helps you with good time management. You can organize your tasks better, and it even avoids procrastination. I remember in high school, I am very guilty of procrastinating a lot, but over time I learned to be on time with certain things, especially with assignments as well. Because you're there's a lot of things that you do in high school. There's a lot of things that you need to get done. So I really agree with the fact that yes, it also shows respect for others, and then it builds that productivity and reliability for others. And I wanted to also ask Sister Bam, right? Because you're both in high school. So why do you think punctuality and time management is considered an important habit?
I think it's an important habit because, as Sister Julia mentioned, we have class, we have work, and being on time, being punctual is like showing respect to your coworkers or your bosses, your teachers. But it also sets a good image on yourself. You don't want to be hiring someone, or you don't want to have a student who is always late. They're considered unreliable in that case. So I think that being punctual or on time really strengthens the character of oneself in a way, right, Sister Jill?
Yeah, and that, like having that as a habit, like really shows that you are someone who's dependable, and that would be build like some trust between you and your coworkers or like your classmates. So I think this punctuality isn't just like about being on time, it's about like showing people that they can count on you.
Right. And I think, in short, right, from what I've learned from all of us, is punctuality or time management. It's not just like what you said, just about being on time. It's also about building character and efficiency and respect in all aspects of your life, whether it's student focused or professional focused or even personal wise, right? And, as we continue to talk about, you know, setting those kinds of boundaries in our life of punctuality and time management, I wanted to ask this time Sister Bam, what role does setting priorities play in punctuality or time management?
For me, I think because if you have like few classes, like myself, I only have two classes in high school. I think that um setting your priorities and being punctual.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Like even if you have only a few classes, for me, I only have one class. You just cannot be like really chill about it, because if you're like not looking at it like as if it's an important task, you're gonna keep on like letting it pass, like, oh, I'll do it later. But when you do that, you're just eventually gonna reach the day of the deadline, and you realize that you should have spent time on it earlier.
especially because you only have like one class. Not
Exactly.
going to that one class looks really bad on you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, just like what we mentioned earlier, right? It prevents the procrastination. I think setting priorities really plays a big role in time management or in punctuality, because it can help you focus on what needs to get done, and you can use your time wisely, right? I think that's why it also helps, like for example, waking up early, right? So, you can prepare what needs to be done, and you can, so that you know what needs to be done first, and then what you need to prioritize first. And I think that also helps keep us organized, right? It makes it easier for us to plan our schedule or to plan our day without having to rush anything. So I think that's why it's so important that we set those kinds of priorities. And it's also like we need to, it helps reduce our stress, right? Because if you are not on time with things, then you're gonna rush with everything that's due. For example, in school, or if you need to get somewhere, you're gonna rush, and then you're gonna be late because you're trying to figure out what needs to be prepared in order to get there. So I think you want to ensure that your energy, right, and time goes to what's most important, or what needs to be prioritized first, which makes punctuality possible and sustainable, right? So I think that's what, especially as students like yourselves, Sister Jillian and Sister Bam, and I'm sure for most of our viewers here on INC Radio, I think, especially depending on what time your school starts, right? It's best that you sleep early, or you prepare your things maybe the night before, or that's why you wake up early, so you can, when you wake up early, you prepare them before you head to school or even to work, right? So I think that's why, for even just the three of us, even if you're students and then I'm working, we can, there's many things that relate for the both of us in regards to setting certain priorities in this, right? And as we continue to share about setting priorities and in order to be on time and how to manage our time wisely, I wanted to ask Sister Jillian again, what are some strategies that you can share that helps you manage punctuality, whether it's school or work or even in your personal lives, that you can share with others?
Okay, so for me, what I do is I list down like my list on like what I have to do and set some reminders. So I literally write down everything I need to do and like set alarms for deadlines or meetings. And I also try to start things a little earlier than I think I need to, because something can suddenly happen without you expecting it to happen, right? Like, so another, for me, another thing is like just being realistic on how long tasks usually take. I don't like, sometimes I tend to underestimate and then freak out about that task.
I think I've heard one of her alarms go off multiple times for her to remind herself like
Yeah.
what to do and everything. And then you know, having like a set schedule, a daily schedule every single day, so then you're always on track, making sure that everything is done at a specific time, right?
Yeah, and like once you make that a habit of yours, it's like it's going to be like a muscle memory, right? Like you just naturally get better at managing your time, like without thinking too hard about it. And yeah, coffee also helps too, and matcha.
I agree, sisters, especially the matcha and coffee, as someone who likes matcha and coffee herself, right? And I think it really is important, as you said, you set alarms, and I think for myself, similar, I use a calendar, and I'm sure there's others who also use a calendar or even a planner, whether it's a physical planner or a digital one. It's important that you write down deadlines or class schedules if you're going to school, or meetings that you have, those kinds of things. And especially setting alarms, I think that's a really good one, especially on your phone, right? Because everyone uses their phone. And I know in some phones that you can set a title for alarms. So if you can put like homework is due like at this time, or do your homework, right? And I know there's also a setting on emails where it can be scheduled send. So, you can like submit your homework in an email and then it can send at a certain time, if I'm not mistaken, right? So I think doing those kinds of things can really help you in managing your time well. And I think a big one is also communication, especially if you're going to work, right? If you think you'll be late, or if you're not able to come in, it's best to inform your bosses and things like that. Or if you're not able to do something, it's best to inform them ahead of time, right? So that they're aware, and they can make those adjustments, right? And for school, I feel just like what Sister Bam said, is following a certain schedule, especially if it's exam week, right? You want to put in study time in there as well, along with anything else that you have going on in your life. So I think it really is important that we have all of those kinds of things. So I wanted to ask Sister Ram, like, because, or even Sister Jillian, right? Because you both go to school and work, how do you manage your time between the two of them? How do you find that balance?
I think for me, Ate, it's because it's become such a schedule for me. Right after school, I would go get lunch, and then right after lunch, I'd go straight to work. But I would say like the first week was kind of hard adjusting because I was so used to going to school from 9 to 4. Now it's from 9 to 12 p.m. and then work at 1:30 till 4 o'clock. And so, you know, I think it's more about the adjusting part that's kind of hard for everybody, getting into that kind of schedule to adjust to. But then, you know, over time, your body's gonna get used to being used to that schedule, because even now, even though I changed my work 30 minutes later, I'm now more early because I was so used to going at 1 p.m. What about you, Sister Jillian?
Oh, just the same thing with Sister Bam. Like, yeah, you have to adjust for what you have, because like, yeah, you also have to prioritize some things. You need to know what is urgent and what is not, right? So like, you when knowing that one task is like more urgent, or what needs your focus, I feel like it just makes being on time way more easier for me.
That's right. That's why, we mentioned earlier, right, is, you delegate what you should prioritize first. Something that was taught by one of my classmates before is setting personal deadlines. So for example, at work, right, if your boss gives you something that is due in a week, try to aim to finish it in like 5 days, right? So that, you have the rest of those days to kind of see what needs to be improved or fixed or things like that. Or even it can even work with school, right? Because I learned this from a classmate. If you're given a project that's in a month, try to finish it in like 2 weeks or three, depending, right, on what kind of project you're doing. So that's why I think that's really important when we are writing down things that need to be prioritized first, and what, so that you can move on to things that can get done later on or even sooner. And I think it's very interesting for even the three of us, right? Because we all work. We always have to try to find that balance, like not just in school and work, but even in our personal lives, especially the three of us, because we all hold duties inside the Church of Christ, right? Of course, we know we prioritize our duties first always. And of course, at the end of the day, no matter how much work is given to us, whether at school or work, we know that we are able to do it. And with the help of our Almighty God, we will get it done. And, we will not allow anything to distract us, right? So, there's different ways that can help us in order to, you know, use our time well and manage our time well, right? And I know there's different study methods as well. I think those will help a lot, especially for those who are students. So, I really like enjoying this conversation, and I wish we did have more time, right? And it's very interesting to see our different perspectives, and in one way it's the same, like it can tie in all together, right? So thank you so much, sisters, for joining us in our discussion and sharing with us your thoughts and your tips on how to have good punctuality and better time management. Because I know, maybe most of us, if not all of us, and including myself, we need to work on our time management in one way or another. So thank you again, sisters, and also those in our YouTube live chat who have joined us in our discussion. We wish that we could continue this conversation, but hopefully in another future broadcast, we will continue a topic related to this, right? And as we continue with the rest of our broadcast, Sister Bam will be reading some of our YouTube comments.
So excited to see everybody's comments about Kuya Tech.
Hey Team Live Chat! Thank you for supporting us. We love hearing about your experiences here on INCRadio. Let us also know where you are joining us from.
Are you familiar with our hashtag challenge? If not, you can also participate by mentioning your local congregation as well as which Christian family organization you belong to.
Near the end of our broadcast, we will announce the hashtag challenge winners, so please continue engaging with us in the comments below. We hope you have a nice day and enjoy our show.
Okay, so I hope everybody there in the live chat was able to see our discussion question, which was, What does being punctual mean to you? But before I dive into everybody's comments, I would like to ask Sister Jill, what does it mean to you?
Okay, so for me, as what I've said earlier, is it's not just about being on time, but it's also about like showing people that they can count on you.
I agree. So now time to look at everybody's comments. We have Sister Irene Reyes saying, it's a habit in performing your duties promptly. Brother Sean Pierce saying, the cool kids are always early. That one I can agree on. Sister Jessica Manalo saying, good evening po from Machanao. Hope everyone is doing well. Preparing at least 1 to 2 hours early and arriving at least 10 to 15 minutes early. It shows your respect to others' time. Sister J. Pasha saying, good evening po Micronesia. So excited for one more broadcast tonight po. Being punctual to me means um being being someone who is responsible for the things that they have to get done. Being punctual can also mean putting organized and effort work into doing the best for you. Hashtag Saipan, hashtag Binhi, hashtag CWS. Brother Matt Luis Pasha saying, excited for tonight's broadcast. Well, being punctual means to me being responsible with your time management and allowing yourself to quickly respond to any situations. And Sister Jill?
So we have Brother Edward De La Cruz saying, hi po from the local of Jico. We are attending the Binhi meeting at the moment po. And we have Brother Mark Kulencha saying, good evening, INCRadio Micronesia, and happy birthday po to Kamishol Bam's mother. Hashtag Jigo, hashtag Kuror, hashtag Buklod.
And so back to you, Sister Andy.
Thank you, Sister Bam. And as we continue with the rest of our broadcast, Sister Jill will tell us what's been happening in our district.
CFO in action.
For Micronesia's lineup, we are going to have a 3-day CFO planning conference on September 20, 21, and 22.
Thank you, Sister Jillian. And before we proceed with our next segment of this broadcast, I just wanted to ask Sister Bam and Sister Jill if you had any shout outs prepared that you would like to give for our broadcast this evening.
I just want to shout out my sister po and my kuya Dennis po at the Jam and brother Denmark Onoya and the local of Atisan district of San Pablo City, Laguna po.
I'd like to shout out my parents, my mom who is here, and my dad who is currently visiting the locale of Majuro, and all my family there in the Philippines. Sister Andy.
Thank you, sisters. I also have a few shout outs myself. I want to give a shout out to my family, my parents, and my brother, the local congregation of Machanao, especially to our resident minister, Kamanel Dinogan, and his family. And I wanted to give a special shout out actually to my cousins, Brother Lawrence and Sister Tia Manalo from Washington. They're actually tuned in right now. We saw them earlier, and thank you so much for tuning in and supporting us here on INC Radio. We hope that you continue to support us, and we hope that you visit us once more here on the island of Guam. And I also want to give a shout out to our wonderful team of INC Radio. They always work so hard every broadcast. So thank you so much to all of our crew members. So as we could talk about and continue to talk about our broadcast, I wanted to invite everyone to next week's broadcast, which is on Friday, September 26, 2025, at 9:30 p.m. Chamorro Standard Time. So we hope that everyone in our YouTube live chat will continue to support us even in our future broadcasts. And as we proceed towards the end of our shows, we will never forget to give our greetings and thank yous, starting with Sister Bam.
We would like to thank our beloved Executive Minister, Brother Eduardo V. Manalo, our Deputy Executive Minister, Brother Angelo Arani Manalo,
And to our District Minister, Brother Tobin Sapulia Jr., to our Assistant District Minister, Brother Julius Malabanan, to our CFO Overseer, Brother Roger Manzanilli Jr., and to our District Multimedia Advisor, Brother Roger Villegas Jr.
And we also want to say a special thank you and shout out to our crew members in the island of Saipan, Sisters Bam, Sisters Jillian, and Brother Matt. And here on the island of Guam, Ates Arlene, Faye, Ann, Gwen, and Marisol, and Kuyas Randy, Michael, Sean, Joff, and to our station manager, Brother Wally Taray, and our executive producer, Brother Emmanuel and Daya. And before we wrap up our show, we wanted to say a very special happy birthday shout out to our CFO Overseer Brother Roger Manzanilla Jr. Happy birthday po. Thank you so much po for all that you do and for your continuous leadership and guidance. Thank you so much po from all of us here on INC Radio Micronesia. And that is the end of our broadcast. We hope to continue to see you next week. Thank you po.